Jeb and Bill take the Polar Express on a repair mission. I learn a new trick in the VAB. And my new nuclear runabout makes its way to Kerbin Station. All of this and more coming up right now. Alrighty, so this is the Puff Mark I Polar Express. This is designed to not just go into a polar orbit, but also to get up to a 350 kilometer altitude, because we need to fix up, let's see which one of these is the one, Maxwell IV, this guy right here. So we're going to set that as a target, and then actually while I'm at it, let's turn everything else off. So there's our target here. It's in a polar orbit. Now if I want to match this orbit, we need to launch so that we are right underneath that orbit. Also, we should be paying attention which way this is going, because if you end up going in the wrong direction, you could match the plane but be 180 degrees out of phase, and that ain't gonna work. You're not gonna be able to match or rendezvous with it that way. So I can see here it's coming over the North Pole right now, and then it's going to be passing to the south. So I can tell from this that I need to run my launch script. I need to go to the south, which is an inclination of negative 90 degrees, and we're going to go into an 80 kilometer orbit, so that we'll be in a nice low orbit, and then we'll do the rendezvous to match up with our satellite, because we need to fix it up. It took damage during fairing separation last episode. My preference for clamshell deploy bit me in the back end. So we'll focus here on Kerbin. We're just going to time warp. You can do this by eyeball. You can also look at Kerbal Engineer here, because this here, just looking at the times, it must be the ascending node. It's about 30 minutes away according to Kerbal Engineer. But I'm going it kind of both ways so you can see what's kind of going on. I'm not paying any attention to the position of the satellite. We'll deal with that during our rendezvous burn. This is just to match planes. Oh, time warp is slowing down on its own. What do we have happening here? Oh, the Keries 1 is complete. Oh, that is exciting. That is my nuclear rocket. Let's see, VAB. The Keries 1 is that nuclear rocket that we were designing. I was showing a bit of its design last episode. I'll talk a lot more about it very, very shortly. We're going to have to roll it out. We're going to have to roll it out to a different launch pad than what we're on right now, but we can start that rollout process. Well, that's exciting. So that's only going to take 2 hours and 15 minutes. We'll be getting to that very soon. Let's finish this off. And we are off. So this is a new booster. Brand new booster, in fact. I started off with designing a booster for the Puff Mark I that uses better engines. So that is this core stage here, which is not activated right now, but will be being pushed up by a KR-1 bore liquid fuel engine. Still has an upper stage that's pushed by a little swivel engine. I think this upper stage worked perfectly fine. And to give it the oomph that it needs, we have a pair, to do the polar orbit, we have a pair of S1-SRB-KD 25K kickback solid fuel boosters. Another way I could have probably have done this, because I have more powerful engines than the bore engine here. We have the Mastodon engine, that's a more powerful engine than the bore, and I have the mainsail, which I've yet to use as well. Could have made this central core a little bit bigger and just put a bigger engine on the bottom. I don't know if that would have been the best idea. But I like the pair of solid rocket fuel boosters. I think that kind of looks good too. And you can see our pilot here. Oh, it's old school. We are down to the original four. Two of the original four. Jebediah is our pilot, and we got Bill in the engineer seat. Alright, it is now locking on to the prograde vector. Our inclination is 90.3 degrees, which I'm happy with. I'm noticing the relative inclination is about 1.3 degrees. So, take a look at this. Yeah, I'm looking at this. You can see I probably launched a little bit late. Should have probably, yeah, I guess it's just taking into account the time it takes to get up there. I should have probably launched a little bit ahead of the plane that I wanted to be in. Oop, the fairing stage. I should pay attention to that. That's something to, yeah. So, note to self, if I'm ever doing this again, launch a little bit ahead of when you're under the orbit, not right at it. As far as the Puff Mark 1, there has been some slight modifications. It has some extra batteries and things. I was showing that last episode because it was running into electricity issues. Also, last episode I showed that I removed the water recycler because that uses a lot of electricity, and for how long this thing is in space for, it really doesn't make sense to have a water recycler aboard, so it's gone. And I also, at that time, turned off the scrubber, but upon advice of a viewer, it was suggested we turn the scrubber back on. I should actually really have known that better. The scrubber, of course, removes CO2 from inside the cabin, but by the time you start getting warnings about CO2 and you turn that scrubber on, your CO2 levels are still going to be going up for a while until the scrubber starts to really kick in and take that CO2 out. Because, yeah, sure, the scrubber starts taking out the CO2, but these two guys are still producing that CO2 and it needs to catch up. So there's a lag that's going on there that I have encountered before. I should know better because in my season finale for Season 1, I actually got a little bit scary, and I had a couple of Kerbals coming back from a moon trip, and they ran into electricity issues, and I didn't notice until I got CO2 warnings, and I turned on the scrubber, and the CO2 levels got up to an alarming level before the scrubber was able to catch up. So the advice from this viewer was don't mess with the scrubber, just keep it on all the time, and then that's probably very, very good advice. Alright, we have hit our target apoapsis, just about in space, and we are crossing radiation belts. We're going to be crossing a lot of radiation belts in this polar orbit. There are radiation hazards associated with being in a polar orbit. Okay, so we're setting up now for our circularization burn. It's still in 6.5 minutes. It's only 22 meters per second, very tiny. Still 761 meters per second left in this stage. That's because we're going to be hanging on to it. The Puff Mark 1 was really only ever designed to get up to Kerbin Station, not to be doing complicated orbital maneuvering type stuff. So it really doesn't have the legs to do this mission on its own. So we're hanging on to this booster here. I boosted up this booster just a little bit so that it can handle the extra. Has a little bit of extra fuel in it. And it's not the best. This script has trouble with really, really short burns, but it's good enough. We can deal with it. Okay, so there we are. We are now in an orbit. Now, one thing about this engine, I never upgraded it, and it's not a high-tech engine. How many ignitions does it have left? It only has 3 ignitions left. It's really not designed for orbital maneuvering at all, but I do have an engineer aboard, and engineers can service these engines. So let's EVA Bill before we really get started with this. Put on his lights, and let go here, put on the RCS pack. You don't need any tools or anything for this. Whoa, just turn the camera so I get a better view. There we go. So we're going to go down here to the engine. Bill's going to take a look at it. So we're going to right click on the engine. Whoop, let's try that again. Right click on the engine. There it is. It says inspect the engine, and it says it could fail at any moment now. That's not particularly good. So we're going to service the engine. Someone forgot a toothpick in there. Okay, but now we can inspect the engine again. And it says, doesn't look used. Is this even turned on? So we have now improved, serviced that engine, so it should have, once we get Bill back inside, more ignitions again. And click on that, and it now has 5 ignitions, which is actually what it was at the very beginning. So we've replaced those 2 ignitions that it's already done. I don't know if you can do this indefinitely, but it is good to know that if you have vehicles that are in space, you can get engineers to service them. Depending on the engine, you might require different levels of engineers. The higher tech the engine, the higher level engineer you need to service that engine. The Swivel's clearly a pretty low tech engine, so I knew Bill at level 2 would have no trouble with it. But anyway, let's set up our rendezvous here. Okay, 17.4 kilometer separation. That ain't the best because of our plane difference. So what we'll do, let's see, we're going to perform the burn here, and then what we'll do is we'll make an adjustment en route. So for now, let's just do that burn. A 186.5 meter per second burn. And of course, it's going to be a similar type of burn to come back. I think the puff, without the modifications that I've done to it, is a little less than 200 meters per second, I think. I don't remember. So it wouldn't have been enough to do everything we need to do. What's going to be really fun is landing this thing back at the KSC. I'm actually rather looking forward to that. I don't think I've ever done that. Come down with a space plane from a polar orbit. And we'll see what happens. I mean, worst comes to worst, we'll ditch in the water, but I do want to give a go at putting it on the runway. Given that we came short of the runway just coming down from an equatorial orbit last time, you have reason to be skeptical, let's put it that way. Okay, we should watch this from here. Separation of 17.4 kilometers, that's what we got before. Okay, now which way around are we going here? We're coming up this way, so I'm going to do a maneuver here at the equatorial ascending node. And we should be able to... Which way do we have to burn? Looks like anti-normal. There we go. So there is 100 meters separation. This is a 75 meter per second burn, so it's not entirely trivial. We won't get Jebediah to do the burn this time. We do want to watch, then I'll watch it from here. And what we'll do is, yeah, when we're at the half, when we're at 5 seconds from the burn, we'll go to half throttle. Go. Okay. Use RCS here. We're 274, so RCS on. It's better. Add it down to 100, so let's see how close we can get this. Oh, that's about it. So, about 125. I'm perfectly fine with that. Solar panels look good, and I think it's 3 ignitions, so I think we're going to get Bill do one more servicing of the engine. You know, now that I'm really doing this, I think I probably should have just upgraded that engine so it had more ignitions. The number of ignitions is not a hard number. It's not like you're guaranteed it's going to go. Here, service that engine. Alright. It's not like it's guaranteed to get to 0. It's the probability of a failure just increases as we get closer to 0. So, if you're sitting, you can't just, you know, press your luck. You're almost you're asking for trouble by doing that. So hopefully, though, that's the last servicing that Bill's going to have to do. About 5 meters per second relative velocity, about just over a minute and a half away, but our closest approach is still very small, which is exactly what we want. I'll let myself get a little closer. We'll do one more firing of this engine. I got a feeling Bill's going to have to reservice it one more time. It's only got 2 ignitions left. We got radiation warnings here above the poles. 10.4 rads per hour. Yeah, we're not going to stay up here for very long, that's for sure. I want to bring that relative velocity down so I can start using there. Our relative velocity is now a meter per second. I can use RCS from here. According to this, I got 0 ignitions left, but we'll get Bill out. We'll service it one more time. They have each a personal inventory in which we have all the stuff that they're going to need. So Jebediah is carrying the solar panels and a little ladder bit for Bill. Bill's got the antenna, an electric drill, and a wrench. I haven't used the electric drill yet. Why don't we use it this time? It just can do heavier parts than the wrench can do. And it can do the lighter parts too. Okay, the ladder fits in. Can we get the solar panels in here too? Oh, can Bill carry everything? No, he's going to have to come back for one solar panel. Okay, that's fine. Open up his inventory. So we have the antenna, we have... Oh, let's equip the drill. So like a drill serves the same purpose as a wrench, except for the fact that... Here, why don't we just attach the... no, let's put on the ladder bit. I always find it easier if we can have something for Bill to hang on to here. So there we go. So the drill works exactly the same way as the wrench. It's like an electric wrench, not really a drill. And actually, I wonder if we take the broken one off. Yep. There we go. And we grab this one. Oh, wait, I didn't attach it. I just clicked, which only lets it go. So put it back in his inventory. We'll try that again. H to attach. And then click. Alright, so that is one antenna. And now a solar panel. H. Oh, the old one's still there. Escape to cancel. Yes. Take off the old one. The little nub there I gotta get rid of. There we go. Of course, in the diagram, it looks exactly the same. So I gotta realize which ones are broken now. H, go. Alright, and we should be able to extend this antenna from here. Or extend that solar panel. There we go. Alright, alright, alright. So, get Bill back inside here. Because Bill is collecting broken stuff. Oh, so this one's a good solar panel. These ones are the broken antenna and a broken solar panel. So I do want to keep straight what's what. Alright, Bill. Last EVA of the mission. Alright, we're done, Bill. Let's unequip your wrench. And let go here. Oh, wait, no, we gotta equip the wrench one more time. Gotta grab your ladder bit. Excellent. Okay. Now we can unequip his wrench. Okay, Bill, let's get you back. Where is Jebediah? Over there? Okay, let's get to our probe here. We're going to extend that last solar panel. We're going to extend this antenna. This should be a happening probe, okay? And then we're going to take this guy and we're going to start our visual scan. So there goes the little lid, and it is exposing our camera in there, and we should be starting to take a visual scan of Kerbin. We should also be collecting all kinds of data, though I suspect once again data is probably being transmitted quicker than this thing can generate the data, which is fine. That is good. Okay, this thing is now going. Happy times. We fixed it. Wasn't the cheapest way to fix it, but we fixed it. So we're done with the Maxwell IV. It's now operational. We need to get ourselves to the Kerbal Space Center. Wait. Now, of course, we have to wait, because I think we're, yeah. See, Kerbin, of course, has rotated in the meantime. Rotated a lot now that I'm looking at this. Wow. I would like to do a daytime landing. How long until Orion? It's only got 47 minutes, but I think I should best do with this. So we're going to have to be up here for a few hours. So during that time, we need to pay attention to radiation and all of that kind of. So let's start time warping. Watching 10% radiation, 14% radiation. Okay. I'm getting nervous. Now, last time I did a descent, I completely forgot the fact that I have trajectories installed. There we are. So let's turn on trajectories. I keep it turned off because it actually uses up a fair amount of processing time to calculate its trajectories. During our descent, we're going to have an entry angle of about 45 degrees. We'll probably be about 45 degrees in the high atmosphere. We're going to be coming in prograde. And low atmosphere, I don't know, something like 20 degrees. This is just a guess. And what we're going to do here is, I think, let's see, which way around? We're coming around this way. So right around here, we'll probably do a descent burn. But I'm pretty sure trajectory should give me a prediction. Oh, you know what we should do? We should get ourselves into a lower orbit before we do any of this. Yes, let's do that. Should have done this earlier. I don't want to descend from 350 kilometers. That's going to be hitting the atmosphere pretty spectacularly. So what we should be doing is lowering our periapsis here. I'm going to lower it down to 80 kilometers. We're going to circularize at 80 kilometers. Then we're going to descend from 80 kilometers. We can descend from 100. Let's do it from 100. Because the space station is at a 120 kilometer orbit. So clearly that, you can do it from the space station. Alright, I'm happy with that. Now let's take a look at trajectories and see if we can not. So you see how trajectories is predicting where our... Oh my gosh, this is pretty good. I was just going to get a rough estimate to start with, but look at that. See that? I think if I go ahead another... Yeah, that's definitely as good. We're going to have to do a little bit of steering, but I think that's as good as what we're going to expect to get. So... Well, if we can trust trajectories, this should be it. So let's keep this pinned up here. And solar panel exposure is good, so let's get ourselves to our burn. These engines here, and... Oops, started to bounce back a little bit. What does trajectories say that them? I think that looks pretty good. Periapsis, about 42 kilometers. I don't know. I think, what do you think, Jebediah? I think this is looking alright. So, let's get off of the retrograde vector. I would love to catch some rays. Is that going to happen? Not so convinced it will. Yeah, as we come across the North Pole, we are going to get some rays. Let's put this on free. I just find this so much better on free mode. Okay, let's... Yeah, I can see that the sun's about to come up. Last time crossing the radiation belts, guys. We are now in the atmosphere. So, trajectories is still pretty happy, but it's clear we need to turn to the right. We need to make a bit of a starboard turn here. So I'm just going to tilt a little that way. Now, to be honest, we're probably not going to have much happening until we start getting a little deeper in the atmosphere. So let's do ourselves some time warping. Gotta watch. Oh, watch the red. Watch that red. What is red? Those are solar panels and thruster blocks. I can live without any of those. Where is the... Is this the Space Center here? I think it might be. Come this way. How's my electricity? Electric charge? It's fine. Still got an hour of electric charge. That is not the Kerbal Space Center. Yes, it is. That's the Kerbal Space Center right there. Okay. You really got to come over here. Okay, what's red? Thruster blocks. All thruster blocks or solar panels. I'm okay with that. Okay. Now I really don't need trajectories anymore. So turn that off. Get rid of that. But I can see I need to form a major right turn here. Very aggressive, Jebediah. Very aggressive. Again, nothing but thruster blocks and solar panels. We got a lot of altitude. Can we bring it around? That is the question. Going a little bit past. Though we got a lot of monopropellant left, these engines aren't worth much of anything. I might use them to give ourselves a little bit of a boost. Ah, this is not good. Looks like we're going to be going in the water. I'm even looking at the island airfield. I'm not even convinced I can make it there. So let's see. I've undershot once. I was really worried I was going to undershoot again, but once we got in there, I could see that I was actually dramatically overshooting. We'll dial this in yet. But I think overall we have to say that was a successful mission. Easy peasy. There we go. Well done, fellas. A little bit away, but you know, what you gonna do? It was a pretty. You're coming down from a polar orbit. All right, now all those EVAs that Bill was doing, I was just thinking, in this Keries, did I put extra nitrogen on board? I'm not convinced I did. I have 993 units of nitrogen here in one of those tanks. You double that, yeah. So the only nitrogen is what's stored in the two capsules here. What we need to do to fix this, we need to get to our Keries, which is sitting on, but you can't edit it when it's sitting on the launch pad, which makes sense. So what I need to do is I need to roll it back. And that's going to take a couple of hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes. Okay. So then what I need to do, come on, is, well, I noticed I got 365, 366 science, so yeah, that can do a node here. Hypersonic flight, there's what I'm looking for, the whiplash engines. I think once you get into this node, you're talking single-staged orbit spaceplanes, for sure. I think what's before it, probably not. This would probably be good slot for high-altitude science collection. I could probably use a new jet more than I could use any. Yeah, let's do this one. So how long's that? It's 1 day and an hour. So that'll be done very, very shortly. Okay, that gives us another node to work with. We're going to be building a new jet, so probably putting something into the points into the spaceplane hangar might not be a bad idea. Alright, so we got this being rolled back. You know what I could do while that's happening is, why don't we get into the spaceplane hangar and do some more work with the Panther. Alright, and of course we flew this couple of times last episode and broke this antenna. So now I know sort of where the stress tolerances are. So basically you can fly around high atmosphere, not much more than 100 meters per second. This thing is okay. Not high as above 18 kilometers, but once you're in around several kilometers, and this thing should be fine. Where are we going? That might not be a bad thing. So according to the climate study, I got to go to the ice caps and the ice shelf, and then this thing, and I got to go to the southern ice shelf, and then this contract is done. That might not be a bad idea, because I can just head south and do both of those. And for this one, I got to go to Badlands. I got to go to Ice Caps, so that's a nice duplicate. And I got to go to the northern ice shelf. Okay, so we'll eventually have to go north, but I might as well go south, and then that can finish this contract off. One thing I noticed with this as I was editing last week's video is I had the lights wrong. I got the red lights on the right side and the green lights on the left side. Well, it should be the other way around. So there's another... We'll have to do another refit on this thing, but otherwise this thing is doing pretty good. Okay, I can see the southern ice shelf coming in. There's ice caps here. The purple bits here are tundra, and although tundra is not part of either of these two contracts, let's just check the other one here and make sure, but I don't think tundra is mentioned at all. I can collect science over the tundra, so I might as well do that. I think I will. So we'll head for the tundra. We'll collect some science above the tundra. We're not going to land. Then we're going to land in the ice caps. We're going to land in the southern ice shelf to satisfy the climate study of Kerbin contract. And then we're going to head home. Alright, so that is all our science. So what we're going to do next, let's time warp a little more. We're going to head south towards the ice caps. But I need to keep my speed down while I still have... I'm going to try and really control this speed here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Really not go fast while we transmit away this data. And although this time I managed not to break that antenna, the transmission rate is still not up to where quite I'd like it to be, especially with all the data that Kerbalism wing experiment generates. But I do have an idea that was suggested in the comments last episode that I'm going to apply to the new jet that I plan on building as soon as that high altitude aeronautics science node is unlocked. But as for this thing, we were able to collect science and land over the ice caps and over the southern ice shelf. And that finished off that climate study contract, so that was all a success. And of course, during all of that time, the Keries was being rolled back from the launch pad so that we can now edit it in the VAB. Unfortunately, I don't have any more bays available. I could create more bays, but I don't want to add much more weight. So we're going to go down to containers. We're going to go down to these small pressurized containers. This is going to take, wow, 16 seconds for these edits. But then it's going to take another couple of hours to roll it out, so let's push this up to the top. Yeah, I'm going to need another vessel to build, so why don't we do that? And this is just another one of these ScanSat mapping contracts. You've seen a lot of these over the past few episodes. This one is going to be in orbit around Minmus. But when I was working out its electrical storage requirements, I calculated that it's going to need 10 of these 400 unit batteries to survive the night on Minmus at the altitude that I want it at. And that reminded me of a post in our Discord. And if you want to join the Discord, there's a link down there in the description. But what this poster discovered was a way to get 5-way symmetry. So right now this is on 6-way symmetry. So what we do is we right click on one of these parts, remove the symmetry, delete that part so there's 5, use the translation tool, grab that, click one of the arrows. Oh my god! Oh my god, look at that! Let's just take this away. That is perfect 5-way symmetry. That's clearly a bug, not a feature, but it is pretty awesome. Let's try that again. So I wanted to see if I can do 5-way symmetry. This is a way I'm going to put 10 of these. So first you start with 6-way symmetry. Let's actually get these batteries on here. Slide these up a little bit. Up a little bit like that. They're not completely glitching in with the other fellas. Let's slide them in too. So they're sort of, oh, yeah. They're out of sync because this is 6-way symmetry on the top. But I'm looking at this battery, these two batteries here. I want to be one above the other. That's good. Okay, now we take one of these batteries, remove the symmetry, take that away, get the move tool, click on that. Just click the arrow. Oh my goodness. Squad, don't ever fix that. So there we go. We got 10 batteries on here, which is what I wanted. But of course, this thing still has to be built. But in the meantime, we finally have something else ready to go. Okay, so here we have the Keries 1. This is the little runabout you saw me playing around with for a little bit last episode, and a custom lifter to bring it up to Kerbin Station. Nobody aboard. This is not meant to, to carry Kerbals up and down. This is meant to purely stay in space. Got a custom lifter bringing it up right now, and by the way, just to sort of, from about here on up, ain't nothing but payload. So the actual ship is all under this. What do we got pushing this up here? There's a couple of bores, I think. Yes, so we two Liquid fuel radial boosters here are 2 bore engines. That's going to do the bulk of it. And then we have a tiny little stage to just do the upper part of the insertion that has a Bobcat engine, a 1.875 meter part. I had to think about that for just a little bit. I do have a contract to plan for the first mission for the Keries. It might take, I don't know if I'll get to it today. It depends. It's a crew issue more than it is anything else. Colonel Lagford is to fly by the moon. I figured that'd be a good inaugural mission for this thing. Though it is capable of getting an orbit about the moon, orbit about Minmus, it's also capable of leaving Kerbin's SOI temporarily and then coming back after orbiting the sun for a little while. I also have a second contract you can see here to do a supply run to Kerbin Station, which is, this comes up every once in a while. It's the dead simplest thing in the world to bring up some food. Every single one of my crafts, or at least are meant to carry Kerbals aboard, will have food aboard, so anything like one of those puffs going back up there would have satisfied that contract. This happens to just be the lucky one to get there first. And this is, by the way, a Kerbal Academy contract, as you can see right here. No money, science, or reputation for doing it, but what you do get is a buttload of experience points for the particular Kerbal involved, in this case Lagerford. I'm not going to send Lagerford out solo. Lagerford's actually on Kerbin Station right now, but I want to send at least one person with him. We'll decide what it is that we're going to do. Probably actually 2. I'll probably send a proper scientist and an engineer. The problem is that my scientist and engineer that are currently up on Kerbin Station have classroom duties doing that space camp contract and really can't leave. So I'll have to get up another scientist or engineer or wait for that space camp to be done. Oh, there was an explosion. I think that was one of the Separatrons. Okay, that was supposed to happen. I think we're okay. We're still going. That was one of the Separatrons that went there. So here is the craft. Let's take a closer look at it here. Get everything else out of the way. In camera, where are you there? There you go. So you can see I did put air brakes on the top, and that's because this thing will aero brake its way back into low Kerbin orbit to rendezvous back with the station. And the air brakes are there to kind of assist with that. You can actually slow yourself down more quickly, though you have to be a little bit careful because these things are kind of fragile, at least in previous versions of KSP. I don't know if that's been changed. And they heat up very, very quickly, so you have to watch the temperature on them and get ready to bring them down if you need to. The main capsule is down here. There's 2 of these. They're the pomegranates, the 3 crude pomegranate capsules on top of each other there. So 6 Kerbals all told. But in the center here is really what I want to take a look at. These are all universal storage parts in here. And it's this modular thing that's in the middle. This bracket that all this stuff attaches to can be extended. And what you can do is just keep adding on modules. So for instance here, this is a carbon dioxide tank, because also on here somewhere is a Sabatier reactor. It takes carbon dioxide and hydrogen and quite a lot of electricity and produces water and methane. And over here, these guys are oxygen tanks. That's carbon dioxide. That's a KAS storage container. It's just awesome how these all fit in here. What is this one down here? Oh, we are in. Oh, look at that open up. Oh, isn't that sweet? These, by the way, can also, you can set these up to act as radiators too, which is cool. I do not have them set up that way, but I think it's cool that you can. What else we got? Oh, this is a KOS guidance computer, same as all the other ones, except for it fits radially and is designed to fit into these little modular bays. I think that's pretty neat. What else we got here? This is a storage container with all kinds of stuff in it. This is actually a probe body right here. So that's why it can fly on its own right now, because of this probe body here. That is food, that is water. This keeps wanting to go to the side here. Holds gray water because we got a water recycler, so we should hold the gray water in there. That's my saboteur. I think that's all it. That's the nitrogen that I added here. These are all fuel cans. These are stock ones. I don't know. I'm excited about this thing. And by the way, up here at the top here, why don't we do that? Now that we're out of the atmosphere, I don't need those anymore. We can keep these on. Up here at the top, I put a science bay. Aim the camera here. So this is the docking port normally. This is on here temporarily, this kind of science unit, and it's got all kinds of sciencey stuff on here. We got a mystery goo. We got what's this one? This one's an atmospheric scan and a temperature scanner. And what again, these are the universal storage parts that fit into these modular systems. Doesn't have a Geiger counter, so I had to stick in the Kerbalism Geiger counter. That's a Kerbalism part. A magnetometer, that is a stock part, I think. Now, I don't know. I get all mixed up with these things. That's stuck in there. Actually, we can probably start turning some of this stuff on soon. That is for storing experiments in case we have samples to store. That is a materials bay, believe it or not, right there. Can we open the door so you can at least see? I don't know. I think you have to turn it on. We'll see it all turn on later. And I put on enough batteries to run everything up here, but these batteries are just temporarily. But what's really cool is you can do all the science that you need to do, and then you can leave this thing somewhere for somebody else, or take it back down, or whatever. Not sure what's responsible for all of this wobbliness just right now. Burn is complete. There we go. Program ended. Okay, let's lose that lower stage. One more time. Okay, and I don't know about these cowlings that are on the nuclear engine. They're always sort of goofy to me. There they go. That's the stock nerve engine, by the way. So that means this thing only carries liquid fuel. There is, by the way, a fairing that fits over all this if you want to enclose it, that you can obviously open and close. I just thought it looked... I like the whole just... everything exposed, everything out in the open in space. I like that look. Okay, nuclear engine is on. Let's get ready to do this. Of course, that's restock, adding in all these extra plume effects. Okay, use RCS to kind of finish the job here. That's about it. Okay, I'm gonna be there in 14.5 minutes. Well, technically I should probably stop using that nuclear engine. From a gameplay perspective, I mean, you know, probably doing some harm to the station with this if this were the real world. We are going slow. Coming in slow, which is probably for the best. This, of course, feels slower for me than it does for you because I'm speeding up the playback for you. I do not have this luxury. There are a ton of parts between this and this on the screen right now. Yeah. Oh, I can see I probably should rotate this way. Looking at those solar panels. There we go. I think I do have more stuff I want to do with space stations, but I'm thinking I'm probably going to be capping this one off pretty soon. Calling it a day. I don't know. We'll see. It's gotten a little bit too big. Oh, I think I hit something. I did. Scratch. Oh dear. Okay, back this way. Came in too close. Nudged one of the space planes. Bad. Okay, I can see the this target icon coming up now, so I'm gonna just try and steer that towards us, and then we'll go in. The way I look at this is like I'm moving the bird icon towards... Now let's give ourselves a little bit of forward so we have a prograde vector to help us with. Come on, where's that prograde vector? There we go. I think we got this now. Okay, so a little bit of scratch paint. But I think we're okay. And bunk. There we are. Okay, we are docked. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's kind of big. Now you're really getting an idea of just how big it is. It's a significant portion of the length of the station. Shut down that engine. So these guys have now joined the party. I am getting a little bit worried if I aim my camera more in the middle here about these space planes. I've been noticing this the last couple of times. See how the hinges have been detaching? It is really... I'm really worried about these little planes. I'm not sure what's going to happen when we actually have to start bringing people down. Speaking of which, we can take a look at that. If we switch to here, these guys got 13.5 days left. So in 13.5 game days, we're going to be bringing everybody back down. And by everybody, I mean all of these people. I think I might wait and, you know, we'll have to fly up some pilots. But what I think I might just do is fly up an engineer and a scientist as well to head off with Lagerfurt in this thing to go around the moon. But I think I'm going to do that at the same time we start bringing tourists down, and that will maximize how we're using planes. And then we'll find out what happens with these hinges. But I think for now we're just going to leave everybody up here, and I think I'm also going to be drawing this episode to a close. I thank you for watching and hope to see you again next time.